Hello everyone, this is Jotto, and welcome to the Hearthstone Weekly Show. Now, for this week, we are going to be going over the second match from the new season of Fight Night. Now, this is Duckwingface versus Chakki. The other one that I was thinking of doing was Reels and Puffin, but it was kind of a dumb matchup in general. We had two games for Reels that was stomps, and they weren't even close, and then we had a luck-based game where Puffin won because he top-decked Harrison Jones to kill the weapon that would have killed him the next turn, and there was no other way of him actually living that turn, so that was pretty much luck-based. And we had another game that was luck-based, and then the last game was just a stomp in the favor of Puffin. So it was one of the least interesting best of fives I think I've ever seen. It was just 5 stomps basically. It wasn't amazing to watch, to be honest. This series, however, there were 2 games that I'm going to be going over. The first one's a bit longer than normal for Hearthstone games, so I'm going to be doing 2, not the standard 3, because if it's a long game, then you end up with like an hour and a half long episode. No one wants to watch that. But this is Duckwingface versus Chakki. Chakki on Clarity Gaming this time, not Mana Grind, and Duckwing sort of replaced him on the Mana Grind team that was going to ESGN. Now, normally I wouldn't disclose sort of what actually happened, but Duck said it on ESGN on the actual stream, so I will. Now, in this case, Chakki's on Clarity because in the semi-finals of a major tournament, semis or quarters, I actually can't remember, it's semis or quarters, of a major tournament, there was a game that was happening between one of the guys on Clarity and Duckwingface, and Chakki was good friends with the guy that was actually on Clarity, so he gave information about Duckwing's decks to him. He was then promptly kicked off Mana Grind, and hey presto, a week later he shows up on the ESGN Fight Night trailer on Clarity Gaming. So needless to say, he's not the most popular of pro players at the moment in the community, and bit of a backstabber in this particular case. But anyway, so this was, you could not have scripted this better basically in terms of the actual match. In the end, the total series was a bit odd overall. I'll put the first video in the description as usual. There's links to the other parts in the description of the first video, so I'll just put the first video link in the description. You can go watch the full series if you like. But we're going to be going over the first 2 games of the series, and I think are the 2 best ones. The first one is going to be a rogue deck from Chakki against a priest deck from Duck. Now, this is sort of a signature deck. He's pretty much the only guy who plays priest, from what I can tell. But yeah, he does play priest, and he has reasonable success with it. Anyway, on to mulligans. We have, starting with Duckwingface, Thought Steal, Shadow Word Death, and Circle of Healing. Now, normally I'd question the Thought Steal, but to be honest, I'm not exactly sure what Duck's aims with this deck are and what kind of combos he wants in his hand. So aggressively mulliganing the Thought Steal could just be to fish for something. Although I will say that normally I would keep the Thought Steal. I love sort of the 3 mana draw 2 effects. Now as for Chakki, Harvest Golem I would keep, Eviscerate, and the rest I'd probably send back. Eviscerate you don't really want to keep. Yeah, and by the looks of it, we're gonna be following that mulliganing pattern. Okay, so opening hand wise, we have, alright, so we've got Ancient Watcher, Circle of Healing, Powerwood Shield. It's okay if he gets an enabler for it. We actually have the deck list coming up here. But for Chakki, he has a pretty good starting hand. He's got turn 2 Golem, turn 3 Golem, or he can do turn 3 Yeti, although I think turn 2, turn 3 Golem is slightly stronger. You ever since you see the Watcher come out, he has the Arcanine Soul Priest Circle of Healing combination in his hand as well, so decent starting hand. That Loot Hoarder is amazing top deck, actually. I'm pretty tempted to say throw out the Loot Hoarder and then go Yeti. He's actually going to go for the SI. I really disagree with that. There's no point. He's just going to heal it. He's just going to heal it. I mean, he could Wild Pyromancer here, but then it's going to die to Dagger if he uses a spell. I think just healing and passing is the best move here. That was a pretty major mistake on Chakki's part. You don't really force the priest to do anything, and you just waste a effective backstab and the coin. So I think going Loot Hoarder into Yeti would have been better. He is debating going for the Power Word Shield and then Wild Pyro or something. Oh, second Watcher. So he's going for the 4/7. Now you do the Power Word Shield first because you draw a card off it, so you want to have as many options as humanly possible. Now for this turn, he definitely is going Yeti. I mean not Yeti, Harvest Golem. Getting confused between my plays and his plays. But yeah, at the moment, Chakki is a little bit further behind than he should be. Now, we could see Arcanine into Circle of Healing, but it seems a little bit preemptive. I think Thought Steal is a decent play here. I mean, Arcanine Circle of Healing, it's good, but then you may need it later more. So, I probably wouldn't go for it. I'm thinking Thought Steal. Just see what you get. If you get a Backstab or something, then that's wonderful for later on. Interesting. Okay, so we're just seeing Wild Pyro come out here. I'm curious to see when he uses that Thought Steal then. Because that seemed like one of the only turns you could. We're probably just going to see Yeti out and then trade the Harvest Golem into the Wild Pyromancer and keep going. But again, like, if he had Yeti Loot Hoarder, he'd just trade his Loot Hoarder, draw a card, attack for 4, and then play a Golem or something. So he would be in a better position. He'd have a slightly worse board, but you'd have an extra card in your hand. He's drawn the Twilight Drake now, so does he just have to go for Twilight Drake? If he saves the Arcanine combo for next turn, he can clear the Yeti with it as well. How big would a Twilight Drake be? So we're seeing it. This is really confusing me. I've got back into playing Hearthstone competitively a lot more recently. I must admit, Priest, not one of the classes I delve into, but I'm getting really confused by what's going on here. It feels like he's... I don't know, I probably would have played the Thought Steal a turn earlier. Thought Steal didn't really... the Thought Steal would have been much better with that Twilight Drake, and the Wild Pyromancer didn't really accomplish anything. He's going to clear the board here with Arcanine, but still not sure about this. He's taking a lot of damage and he shouldn't be. Anyway, yeah, this is definitely Arcanine Circle of Healing Hero Power. Definitely Arcanine Circle of Healing Hero Power. This is the time to combo off. Alright, so for Chakki, we have a bit of an odd situation. We have a Harrison in hand that can't do anything. Simply because, it's a 5 and a 5/4, which is not horrible. It really isn't horrible. Like, he can use that later on. He can use that later on. You're definitely daggering here. I'd say dagger and then just run out the SI. Just run out the SI. Doesn't really matter, sort of, getting the combo in this particular case. Okay, so we should definitely see a Twilight Drake coming out here. Definitely see a Twilight Drake. And probably, we could go Twilight Drake, heal. Actually, how much mana would he have access to? 5, 6. Yeah, he's got enough. What's he doing here? And then silence the Watcher and attack, I'm guessing. If you silence the Watcher, you can take out the 3/1. I would have just gone Twilight Drake, Northshire Cleric, heal up your Ancient Watcher, silence it, take out the 3/3, and he'd be incredibly far ahead on board right now. I don't know what's going on with Duck in this game, to be honest. There's so many misplays over and over and over again. As I said, I'm not a priest player, and he doesn't even silence it. This is really confusing me. I'm really confused watching this, to be honest. I mean, for this turn, I mean, Chakki has a bit of a weird turn here. I mean, the Ancient Watcher didn't get silenced, so he's guessing he doesn't have it. And he's going to use his SI7 probably to take out the Northshire. The question is, what does he do from there? He could sprint. He's debating the backstab here. I think you just sprint. Yeah, I think you just sprint. You need options. Priest isn't doing that much at the moment, apart from setting up draw power. So just sprint, draw some cards. Maybe that. Okay, so is he going for face with this thing? Yeah, okay. I was about to say, if he attacks the Argent Squire, then that's a misplay. But if he wants to push damage, then that makes sense. He can take it out with Dagger this turn. Now, we should just see double Twilight Drake here. These Twilights should have been played a long time ago. But we should just see double Twilight. Don't, please, oh my god. What are you defending against? You're not playing against Miracle. What are you defending against? You've already seen double Harvest Golem. You've seen a Loot Hoarder, I do believe. Yep, you've seen a Loot Hoarder. You've seen two SI7s. A Yeti. You're definitely not playing against Miracle. So I don't really understand what he's defending against. I would have probably just gone double Twilight Drake. Again, the Twilight Drake should have been played a long time ago, but I don't know, it's just a little sketchy to me. This turn, however, is quite tricky for Chakki. I mean, it's actually really difficult. You could go Cairn and Dagger and just set up your next turn since you're ahead on life right now. I think that may be what you have to do. He could Eviscerate as well. He could just double Argent Squire. Yeah, he's gonna go for the double Argent Squire. The reason I was thinking Dagger is because you have Deadly Poison Blade Flurry in hand, and it costs less mana to do that overall. Circle of Healing. Okay, so for this turn, I would say he can he can take out that Cairn essentially. If he had the second Twilight Drake on board, he could take it out for free. But he doesn't. So, yeah, misplays 101. I think you silence your Ancient Watcher, or silence the Cairn. Actually, if you silence your Ancient Watcher and then Circle of Healing, you just get a better attacker. And then Circle. If you attack the 1/1, then you Circle. Is he gonna... Okay, so I'm guessing he's going for the Circle of Healing. Okay, he's going for the Circle of Healing. He's going to heal up pretty much all the damage off his board, and that Blade Flurry is going to be dead in his hand. Don't end turn. I'm not sure about this. Not sure about this, guys. I'm really not sure about this. I mean, what I probably would have done there is silence my own Ancient Watcher, use the Argent Squire and the Twilight Drake to take out the first Cairn, use the Ancient Watcher and the Sun Fury to take out the second one, then Circle of Healing. And then you'd have a 4/6, I do believe. Yeah, a 4/6 with Taunt, protecting the rest of your board. And you'd have a 4/5, and you'd have two 4/5s and a 1/1. And at that point, you're so far ahead that I think you just win. Like, you have a crazy board, you can't really lose from there. But that's not what we're going to see. We're going to see a value flurry here, and I think that's good game. To be honest, I'm thinking that's good game. I don't really see a way back from this. He's just going to take out both Twilights, and I think that's the end of the game. But this wasn't even, I mean, a lot of people, especially in chat when they were looking at this, were thinking it's just the Priest. Like, Priest is not known for being a good class, to be honest. But there were a lot of mistakes in this particular game. A lot of mistakes. I mean, Chakki Chakki did the weird thing with the SI7 on turn 2. That was the one that people caught straight away. The weird thing on turn 2 didn't hurt him that much in the end, just because of the situation. It ended up being not better, but it was not worse than the quote unquote correct play in the end. It ended up playing out correctly. It did hurt him a little bit later on when he couldn't combo a second SI7, so he would have had 2 3-3s instead of a weird 3-3 and a dagger. But besides that, it didn't really hurt him in the long run. But there's just been lots and lots of things. I think Duck, if he played it correctly, he probably would have won the game by now. Probably next turn. He probably would have won the game next turn, because he had, what, 12 damage on the board? That was almost impossible to clear, because he couldn't even attack. He'd have to clear the board. He could clear the board, but then he wouldn't have anything on the board. And if the Twilight Drake had been played earlier, then it wouldn't even be an issue. But I think, is he just dead? If he holy fires the Harrison, he can only fire the Harrison, then heal himself, and he goes up to 13, 17. But then he's got 6, 7, 8, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, he's dead. I mean, you could technically Holy Nova Cleric Circle of Healing. That could draw you 4 cards, but you spent most of your mana at that point, so I don't know what you're drawing for. Maybe Defender of Argus or some Taunt Giver. He's already played Sun Fury. Does he have Defenders in this deck? By the looks of it, no. So I don't think there's anything you can draw. I don't think there's any combination of cards you can draw that would win him. I guess 2 Shadow Word Pains would do it. Actually, would 2 Shadow Word Pains do it? No, he'd still be dead. I mean, actually, he goes up to 13. 2 Shadow Word Pains. No, he'd still be dead. So, yeah, there's no combination of cards that will save him here. Yeah, that's a good game. But yeah, that game was pretty badly played overall, to be honest. It was pretty badly played, and that's disappointing for me, because I've seen, like, it's pretty evident to me that he was thrown off, because I've seen Duck play this deck before, and he's done really, really well with it, and he's made Legend with it several times. And yeah, he gets Legend quickly, like within the first week and a half with his Priest deck, and that's pretty standard for him. So I don't know, it just seems like he was thrown off there, and it was pretty badly played overall. I'm going to be perfectly honest, but it did seem like he was being thrown off, because I have seen him play that deck before, and it was nothing like that. He played much, much better than he did in that particular game. But anyway, moving on to the second game. Now, the second game is a switch to Druid from Duck, with Chakki still on his tempo-ish mid-range rogue. I do actually enjoy with the tempo-y rogues. I've been playing tempo rogue a lot in Constructed recently in tournaments. I do actually enjoy that playstyle. So, I mean, it's kind of confusing, because routing wise, I want the rogue deck to win, but then I also don't particularly like Chakki, so it's kind of a funny thing for me to watch, especially. But anyway, so starting with mulligans, we have, for Duck, we have Innervate. I think Innervate you snap keep. Keeper, I would say you snap keep. Mark of the Wild, I'm not sure. Savage Roar you send back. Mark, I think you keep, because you have the Innervate. Like, you can go on curve and just put a mark on something. As for Duck, I would say send back the SI7, and that's it. I don't like SI7 going first. Interesting. Some very odd mulliganing decisions going on here. Sending back the Harvest Golem, which I thought would be a snap keep, and Duck is sending back the rest of the stuff. I mean, I guess with Keeper, there aren't that many 2-life creatures to target. I mean, you have like Loot Hoarder and Harvest Golem, but you can silence Harvest Golem, and you can hero power stuff with 3 life, and it's also a 2/4. So I don't know. I mean, getting the Cairn is better, but he didn't know he was going to get the Cairn by mulliganing the Keeper. So, I would say that opening hand-wise, Duck has the better hand because the Harvest Golem went back. Now, I'm guessing what we're going to see here is a turn 2 Harvest Golem into turn 4 Cairn. We could see a turn 3 Cairn as well. But turn 3 Cairn seems like it's pushing it a bit, because if it gets sapped, then you're just screwed. Don't innervate the Harvest Golem. Please don't innervate the Harvest Golem. No, you have a Cairn. You have a Cairn, don't innervate it. He's thinking about it. No, he's ending his turn. Okay. But you really don't want to innervate out Harvest Golems. Harvest Golem innervate always felt kind of weird, because the problem with Harvest Golem is it's a 2-for-1. It's always a 2-for-1. But it's not a 2-for-1 because it comes down early. Like, if you look at Shamans, for 2 mana they kill it. It takes 2 cards, but for 2 mana they kill it. So if you put Innervate in it, it's just an excuse for them to 2-for... I mean, it's a 2-for-2 at that point, and they can deal with it. That's why I don't really like the Innervate Harvest Golems. Unless you're against something like Hunter, I guess. If you're against Hunter, you can Innervate to out all you like, because they can't really deal with it. Now, he's just drawn the Yeti, so he's really thinking about the turn 2 Yeti here, and I don't really disagree. I mean, it's going to get completely shut down, is the problem. It's going to get shut down by what's in Chakki's hand. But I think it's probably the better play overall. I mean, there is an argument for just coining it out next turn and then going Yeti the turn after. I mean, not Yeti, Cairn the turn after, and I think that might be slightly better. Yeah, we're gonna see the SI7 combo kill it, and that is a huge setback. That is a really big deal. It doesn't look like much, but that is a really big deal. Nope, it's okay, guys. We have the other top decking the second innervate. That is insane. Okay, so never mind. This game is officially not over, although he can deal with this. That's impressive. It's gonna take 2 cards. He can backstab it, attack with the SI, dagger, eviscerate. He can actually kill a Cairn on turn 4. Fully kill a Cairn. That's very impressive. And it's not even card disadvantage. You're gonna be tied on cards. That's ridiculous. If he sees the play, then that's definitely the one to go for. Yeah, if he sees the play, then that's what he has to go for. You backstab the Cairn, run SI7 into it, dagger, eviscerate. You have to do it in that order as well, because you need exact damage. You have 10 exact damage. Does he see it? He doesn't see it? Oh, that's really bad. He doesn't actually see it. He could have killed that thing. He wants to save the eviscerate if he did see it, but I think that was the correct play overall. I mean, I would just say eviscerate the Cairn. I mean, in this case, we're gonna get the swipe coming out on this SI, I should imagine. He doesn't want to lose his Cairn that easily. Or not, by the looks of it. I think I would probably swipe it, just force him to spend another card and take another 4 damage. I mean, he's going to take another 4 damage here anyway. So I think, I mean, the worst play you could do would be to attack face. Attacking face and then leaving the SI. I think that's probably the worst. But we got sort of the middle ground here. So I'm actually fine with that play. I mean, saving the swipe is arguably better. It doesn't mean you curve out slightly worse though. You can't just go Harvest Golem Hero Power on this turn. But Chakki has a dead hand right now. He really does. He should have killed the Cairn last turn. He would still have his SI7 if he did. I mean, not still have his SI7. He would trade the SI7. He'd be against a Harvest Golem and nothing else. And he wouldn't have taken what, 12 damage from the Cairn? How much damage did he take from that? Yeah, he took 12 from the Cairn when it should have been 4. So he took 3 times more damage to do that play. Okay, so we're probably just going to see the Harvest Golem come out here. We're not going to see the Yeti because he doesn't want to lose the Yeti to a dagger. That's basically why we're not seeing the Yeti come down here. Okay, so for this particular turn, I mean, to be honest, I think you Defender of Argus, trade with the Yeti a bit, and then Hero Power. You could also go face, but then if you do, you're getting blown out by Swipe. I mean, I know you have to be slightly risky right now, but you can't really afford to be that risky. If he spends part of his turn to kill the 5/3, then it means you can sprint on the next turn. But as a result, you're going to get your board wiped here. In fact, yeah, the board is gone. I think we're going to see the Blood Mage. Blood Mage is unnecessary. I would say swipe it, and then put some Fury down to give it to him. The Blood Mage is completely unnecessary. Okay, so now we have this awkward situation where if he'd just killed the Harvest Golem, he wouldn't have a board, but then his opponent would have one less thing on it. One less thing on his board. Now, does he eviscerate the 2/3? Or does he Luke Hoarder? He's going to Luke Hoarder. The problem is now he's on, like, he's within Force of Nature Savage Roar range, which he shouldn't be. He should have 8 extra life from the Cairn attacks. I should imagine we're just going to see the draw 2 of this Ancient Allure and take out the Azure Drake. Take out the Azure Drake so you can't get eviscerated. Take out the Azure Drake so you can't get eviscerated for free. God damn it. He's gonna get eviscerated for free. Like, he would get eviscerated anyway, but still, it shouldn't be 5 damage eviscerate. It's basically free. I mean, are we... The other option is, like, trading. Yeah, I think I do like this particular play. We're going to see the dagger to take out that. Get him for 5. He's already played a swipe. The chances of him having a second one are pretty low. Although if he did, it'd be ridiculous. And probably game over. But anyway, so Druid of the Claw. He could Druid of the Claw and then Mark of the Wild, the Druid, goes 6/8. Chillwind, I mean, he doesn't want a Savage Roar. He does not want a Savage Roar. I think that's the major thing here. I mean, you could give Druid Charge, give it Mark of the Wild, take out the 5/5 and then attack face. It's awkward, but I think it's the correct play. I mean, giving it Bear Form is also... Giving it Bear Form, the Mark of the Wilding it, is actually pretty good. So we're going to see the Mark of the Wild. Yeah, he's going to make it into a 6/6. Okay, so he's playing more aggressively as opposed to conservatively, which I can see why. I mean, you're ahead on cards, so you can make arguments both ways. You can play aggressively, but then you don't want to give up any advantages, so playing defensively might be better. So, do we have sprint or are we going to get Harvest Golem? I would, to be honest, sprint in this situation. You have to sprint. You really do. You have a small, very, very small window to do so. Then we're probably going to see an eviscerate on the 6/1. Overkill, but you have to. And then run the Defender of Argus into the 2/1. He's now dead to Force of Nature. That was a mistake. That was definitely a mistake. He's dead to flat Force of Nature now, which is bad. Now, we should just see Cenarius come out. Just see Cenarius. Like, he has 3 damage basically in hand. See the Shando's Lesson. Or Shantodo's, I guess. But anyway, Shando's Lesson come out. Get 2/2/2s. 2/2/2s. 2/2/2s with Taunt. which sets up Ferocious Roar. He's basically dead, I think. Is there any way of him living? No. There is no way of him living. If he hadn't attacked the 2-1 last turn, he would technically live on board, but he's still dead in hand, so that's good game. Like, he can... What can he do here? Like, he can spend 5 mana to take out one, take out the other. He can't kill the 5/8 is the problem. Even with Leroy, he can't take out the 5/8, so that's a good game. He can take out both 2/2s, but you can't take out the 5/8, and you can't get any taunts up. No, that's GG. Anyway, so this particular time, we didn't really have mistakes, so to say. We had sort of... we didn't really have mistakes in this game. I'm gonna say the difference between this and the first game. We didn't really have mistakes this game. We had sort of what we're used to seeing, which is not technically mistakes, but I mean, is he actually not dead here? No, he's dead. Yeah, the Leroy Jenkins Wolves. Thought so. But anyway, we had sort of what we're used to seeing, which is the best play is not always the best in a situation. Where the best play earlier was, say, innervating out a Yeti, and because we knew what was in Chakki's hand, it wasn't actually the best play in practice. But then he top decked the innervate, and that really did help. So there was a little bit of luck of the draw in the first couple turns, although in general it was a fairly fair game overall. The first game though was pretty atrocious. I'm gonna state my case on that. The first game was pretty atrocious. The second game, however, was quite a good game. We did have a little bit of luck in the draw, but that's pretty much what you expect from everything. I mean, we did have 2 eviscerates from Chakki, so yeah. And also, if he hadn't taken 8 from extra from the Cairn, he wouldn't have died on that turn, and he was out of direct. Like, unless he drew Force of Nature, he wasn't gonna kill him. So yeah, besides that, it was a pretty decent game overall. Just 1 or 2 mistakes here or there, but it was a pretty decent game. The rest of the series was fairly interesting. Chakki ended up winning the actual series. I'll put the link to the first video in the description, and you can look for the links in that particular video description. When you actually go to it, there's the actual parts. In fact, I can probably just scroll down and actually show it. But yeah, in any of the actual videos, there's links down here. So I'm just gonna put the first part. I'm just gonna put the first part in the video description, and you can go and check all the parts from there. Anyway, thank you all for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe. If you have any feedback, put it in the comment section below. I've been playing a lot of Heroes of the Storm recently. I did actually get into the alpha for that, courtesy of Mana Grind. So I have been playing a decent chunk of that. I'm probably going to make a video about sort of what's good, what's bad, because I do play a lot of MOBAs. The 2 genres of games I've always played have been TCGs, or CCGs in this case, and or just card games in general, and also MOBAs. So I played a lot of Dota, played League, played HON. Like, I've played a lot of different MOBAs, and I've also played a lot of different card games. So those are the 2 genres I was focused on, so I'm kind of excited about the whole Heroes of the Storm thing. I will make a video at some point once I played enough of it to sort of have a decent structure of what is good, what is bad. I probably won't talk too much about things like balance. I'll talk about design things, because balance is something that changes all the time, and you can fix that stuff pretty easily. But it's the design decisions that I think are the ones you really need to give feedback on in alphas. Anyway, this has been Jotto, signing off.